Hate the players, hate the game. Every single amount of pleasure comes with the same amount of pain. What's happening, guys? It's Relly, and we got Mac from not only Trust the Bank, TTB, Ravens Media, but also the Football Diary. So, Mac, how we doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better than most other fans of my favorite team. So, I'm chilling. I'm having a good time. I'm excited to be here. I'm just waiting for full NFL Sunday to really kick off. But we got a great sneak peek last night with the Cowboys Buccaneers game. So, just
Yeah.
really waiting. Just waiting.
Yes. By the way, man, are you still working on the Gardner Minshew look? Is that what you go for in the fall?
No, I just happened to shave it, and it just happens to always grow like I'm Gardner. So
I'm just saying, man, with him being traded to the Eagles, which I thought was a slap in the face to Jalen Hurts, and I thought was actually kind of cool for Minshew, we thought it was inevitable. But I need a picture of him in his homemade jorts with a bald eagle behind him. I need that photo.
I think
America
America
needs that
needs that.
photo.
Yeah, America needs that
Yes,
photo.
absolutely. He's your guy. He's a mascot at this point, let's be honest.
Oh, 100%. But like, he's
100%.
the best mascot in all of sports. So
Seemingly so.
nobody follows Gardner around. Like, man, I bought Gardner Minshew's jersey after he played one game in the NFL. So this goes to show how much I love Gardner.
Likable guy, though, too.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, Mac. Now, you know me. I think the obvious elephant in the room has been the running back situation, and obviously what happened to Marcus Peters. Now, you've had a lot of depth at the secondary position, so Marcus Peters being down, it hurts, but it's not the end of the world. Now, I think a lot of Ravens fans are freaking out. Now, listen, I know that you do your research. I know you hit the books. I know you got the depth. And outside concerns of Greg Roman, I'm pretty sure you're confident about your team. So tell me, I think everyone's concerned, including myself, about what is the running back position in a rush heavy offense going to be like. And I'm thinking a big increase stock in Marquise Brown, hopefully, fantasy wise. But give me your honest thoughts. I'm going to give you the floor and tell me how it is.
I mean, just off the jump, I think people are heavily overreacting. I'm a massive J.K. Dobbins fan. He was my favorite running back coming out of his draft class. I ranked him as my number one running back when the Ravens got him. I was so excited because I love J.K. Dobbins. But when he went down, I was like, yes, that sucks. I would love to see him progress. However, the reason why you have Lamar Jackson, why you pay Lamar Jackson whatever he wants to get paid, because no other quarterback brings to their team what Lamar Jackson does. Not even Patrick Mahomes. Obviously Patrick Mahomes, I think Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback. But Patrick Mahomes, you pay Patrick Mahomes, he's making, I want to say $44 million a year.
There's a lot of money that's not
Yes.
guaranteed. All that it's
Yeah.
like win MVP, win a Super Bowl. I mean, there's a lot of incentives, and there's a thing in his contract where it's just like apparently if it's a sign-in bonus or whatever in the beginning of the year, it doesn't count towards the cap. I
Yeah.
said that we got to do it all like baseball and just do luxury tax. Every dollar you go over, you pay double that. But, just less bullshit, less time. But that's another topic for a whole nother time. But yeah, it's just like he doesn't even need a phone call. He just looks at his bank statement being like, oh, got paid early. Oh, well.
Yeah. And, with Patrick Mahomes, what Patrick Mahomes will bring is he gives you great quarterback play. He's going to elevate your wide receivers. He's going to elevate your offensive line. Like
Yep.
he's going to escape. Lamar
Yep.
Jackson, why he's going to get paid a lot of money. I'm expecting it between $42 and $44 million is kind of the number I'm expecting. Is that
Mm-hmm.
you never have to pay a running back with him. You never have to. They could draft a different running back in the 6th round or find an undrafted guy every year to be the Ravens' new running back because he is that dynamic. Every time Lamar's on the field, it takes a defender away from stopping the run because they have to play Lamar. And if they don't play Lamar,
Yeah.
he keeps it. And then there's one less defender trying to tackle Lamar Jackson. And that's why every running back that's played with Lamar Jackson has rushed for 5 yards per carry at least. Mark Ingram, Kenneth Dixon, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. Justice Hill last year did not rush for over 5 yards a carry. However, I believe in years past he has rushed for over 5 yards a carry, and that's because Lamar Jackson is going to make that impact. So while losing J.K., who rushed for 6 yards a carry last year, it sucks. I love him. He's a dynamic player. Guys like Tyson Williams will still be able to come in as an undrafted guy and get open holes. That's the benefit of Greg Roman. Greg Roman, don't get him to pass, but if you need to run the football, Greg Roman's going to be fine. And whatever running back you throw out there, it's going to work. It's the same situation in San Francisco that we see with Kyle Shanahan. Oh, Raheem Mostert goes down with injury. Oh, here's two random guys nobody's heard of that are going to come out there and they're going to ball out all year. And then he'll draft some other guy. He drafted Trey Sermon this year. And it's just like, that's the benefit of Lamar. You don't have to ever worry about the running back position. And yes, they have a lot of guys and there's a lot of question marks. 3 of them may not work out. They got Trenton Cannon. They have Tyson Williams. They have Latavius Murray. They have Le'Veon Bell. And they have Devontae Freeman. 3 of those guys may not work. But if 2 of the players can be like, oh yeah, with Lamar, I'm fine. The Ravens offense is completely okay. Even if it's just one guy that's completely okay, the Ravens offense is fine. And I expect at least one of those guys to be absolutely fine. Just based on their history. I really think Devontae Freeman's going to be solid. I think Le'Veon Bell's going to be solid. And Latavius Murray has been, a decent running back. Whereas Freeman and Bell, they haven't been in recent years. However, the situations they've been in have not been great for running the football. Bell being with the Jets and the Chiefs, with the Chiefs' great offense, but the running game is not something to look at as a massive threat. You have Patrick Mahomes, you're going to throw the football.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, too, is another thing that really hurt the Chiefs, I think, is when a guy who was basically second MVP technically could have got it, but some of the stuff was, that big touchdown was in garbage time. But Dame Williams, he took the year off to take care of his mother, which I have all respect for him. I love Dame. But then the next year, they basically just said, see ya, hats off. And I was sad. I really was. And I think that really did hurt. I really did like him as a talent. And if you just look at last year, between Clyde, who I'm going to get a lot of shit, but you know how the Chief fans, half of them hate me. I'm not saying that Clyde's bad. I'm just not sold on him yet. I want to see him this year. Offensive line was questionable last year. A new offensive line. I want to see the real thing, real speed. I just want to see how it is. And who knows? These guys could produce. I don't know. But last year you had questions at the line. Bill couldn't produce. And yeah, for him talking shit on his way out the door saying, I'm retiring before I'm working for Coach Reed again. Did it rub me the wrong way? Yeah. Did I think it was uncalled for? Yeah. But it didn't burn his bridge. For you having Le'Veon Bell on your team now, is there a certain bar you set? Is there a certain expectation? Or it's just going to be like, listen, dude, just shut up, perform, and that's all I ask. And if you don't perform, you suck, and you talk shit, I want you out. Is it kind of one of those things?
At first, I was shocked that the Ravens even signed him based on those comments that they made. And John Harbaugh worked under Andy Reid. He's from the Andy Reid coaching tree. So I just thought John Harbaugh's a player's coach in a locker room that is built on being very close and very tight-knit. And when they brought him in, I think they recognized that they missed out on an opportunity with Antonio Brown. Because the Ravens were very interested in signing him, but didn't pull the trigger because of their concerns with AB and his, mental stability. But I think they figured that, the guys that they have are worth it. And I actually did hear that Gus Edwards and Le'Veon Bell work with the same trainer. Somebody commented that in one of my videos. I haven't fact checked it or anything, but I doubt anybody would lie about that. So that's something that's close. And also Sammy Watkins being in Baltimore. Obviously a former teammate of Le'Veon Bell. I think that just shows something where maybe he recognizes that, he needs to be calm, but also seemingly has a different mentality than he has in recent years. It's no longer all me. That's what it was when he went to New York. He was just like, screw everybody. I'm the best. I need my money, and they got less money in New York. But now it's all about like proving the doubters wrong and things like that. And I think the Ravens like that mentality with him, just trying to find somebody that'll work hard. But the benefit is they got 2 other veterans where if they outwork Le'Veon, if they play better than Le'Veon Bell will be cut. And so he has to outwork. He's not being brought in to be the feature back. He was signed to the practice squad. Latavius Murray was not signed to the practice squad. He went straight to the 53-man roster. And so that's something that shows him like, hey, you're not set in stone. The Ravens have 5 running backs. Are you necessary? You don't play special teams. I think he's played 11 special team snaps in his entire career. He doesn't play special teams. So how is he going to get on this roster? And he's got to be able to prove it. And it just depends on whether or not he does. And if he doesn't, the Ravens are okay with letting him go. That's why they brought in Freeman. That's why they brought in Latavius. And if they let him go, heck, they could go out and they could get Gurley and try him out. So there's just a lot of things. There's options with the veteran running backs they could go after and sign. So it is a bit of a tight leash with him, but I'm not overly worried about him kind of blowing up or anything like that. I think he recognizes this is probably his last chance, and it's probably also his best chance with him being in an opportunity where there's a chance he's not on the roster by the end of the year. There's a chance he's running back 1, taking a majority of the snaps at running back by the end of the year. So this is definitely his best chance to become a featured back if he ever is going to for the rest of his career. Sign a 1-year deal, become a featured back in Baltimore, then maybe he can get his money somewhere else. The Ravens did it with Mark Ingram, and I think they're going to try and do it right again with Le'Veon or Freeman or Murray or all 3. So I'm very excited to see how it works out. I'm hoping he plays Monday, but the Ravens are yet to say whether or not he will. They said that there's a decent chance that he does. So it just depends on if he can learn the playbook and everything like that.
Are you a fan of having these veteran running backs? I mean, let's just be honest. Latavius Murray, I mean, that was basically just like a bone being thrown out. It's just like, hey, man, can you take a pay cut? Absolutely not. Okay, Gan. It just happened to be so coincidental. And a lot of people were saying, hey, since the Texans are in full tank job and Josh and I are still doing the Texans talk because of somebody else took it, has now been changed to bull droppings. But we actually thought that there was a chance that the Ravens would surrender just a 7th-round pick because if you look at the guys that they've gotten rid of, Randall Cobb, somebody that Aaron Rodgers praised, was gone for a 6th-round pick. Shaq Lawson, a 6th-round pick. So I'm like, okay, you might be able to trade Mark Ingram for just a 7th-rounder. You know what I mean? But obviously that didn't work out. Are you glad that Mark Ingram isn't back on the team, or you just like the better options better?
It's very tough with Mark Ingram. He struggled a lot last year. However, I think that was a lot due to COVID and things like that because he didn't get an off season. And at that age, you do need when you're young and you're, a 21-year-old running back, you're like, oh, I don't need practice. I can just show up, no stretch, go out there and ball out. Mark Ingram, it showed with his body that he was not able to take the toll. And so I think I know he has like a positive view of the Ravens, but I think the Ravens just decided, hey, let's try and move on. We know what Mark Ingram can be. However, I think the potential of a Le'Veon Bell is higher. I think they want to test out Tyson Williams because Gus Edwards was an undrafted running back. Yes. Tyson Williams, an undrafted running back. They really want to give those guys opportunities. And while I love Mark Ingram, I think Mark Ingram is one of the biggest reasons why the Ravens have had as much success that they have had in recent years because of what he's brought to the locker room. And he's helped really create this culture kind of associated with the Lamar Jackson Ravens, but it's really what Mark Ingram started. But overall, I think that him leaving is for the best. It sucks that he's gone, but I wouldn't want to trade for him just because he's not going to get any better. Whereas the other guys like Le'Veon and Freeman, they still have a chance. They haven't played a ton of football recently. Freeman was a backup with the Giants. He got hurt in, I think, 2017, only played 2 games. So he really hasn't played a lot since he was the number 1 running back in the best offense, one of the top 10, I think, highest scoring offenses in the history of football with the Kyle Shanahan offensive coordinator led Atlanta Falcons that went to the Super Bowl. And so if he can, if those guys can get under Greg Roman, maybe they can, rejuvenate their careers. Latavius Murray trying to get back to the Raiders guy, Freeman getting back to the Falcons, and Bell getting back to the old Steelers. And I think that they love the revenge that they're able to bring to their former teams. Bell gets to play the Steelers twice a year, and he gets to
I
possibly
thought
play
about
Kansas
that, and
City.
I'm thinking to myself, that's gonna get gritty. Like, think about it. You're gonna have, and I said this, right? If you're going to have the stadiums at full capacity again, now let's take. I won't get into the political aspect of it, but could you just imagine what it's going to be like if Le'Veon Bell is in the huddle in Pittsburgh?
It's gonna make that game so much more fun to watch.
Every time he gets tackled, there's going to be a roar of boos. Now, listen, I actually found out something, and I actually wanted to know if you would find this hysterical. You see, there's a certain amount of the fan base, okay? There's the boomers that are stuck in the 70s era, and then there's not the millennials, but it's like the Gen Zs. It's like the teenage kids that just got their first Twitter account. Between those boomers and those kids, they're the biggest shit talkers. But everybody else in between, in my experience, they've been great guys. They've been great fans, passionate. I've been able to have good conversations with them. But if you're in love with that 70s era and you're stuck there, and if you're one of those little kids that still thinks that Big Ben is a top 10 quarterback, you can't change my mind, it's impossible to talk to you. I can't deal with it. There's those two guys, and then everybody else in the middle is fine.
Yeah, I mean that's typically true, just based off of what people think and things like that. But I mean, there's just like, I don't know, it's just the way that the teams were made. I love, like, the issue is like the Ravens Steelers rivalry is very different than what it used to be.
True.
Back when it was, the defenses, yes, they're both still very good, but they're definitely different. You're not allowed to hit the helmet as much as you used to be. So it's like, it's bittersweet, but I'm actually very excited because Le'Veon Bell may actually bring back some real chippiness to that rivalry. It could make it a lot more fun to watch, is if Le'Veon Bell scores in Pittsburgh, takes a jog to center field, puts the arms out like T.O., and just lets chaos happen. That's kind of my entire goal.
Ouch.
Also, if he did it, the issue is he can't do it to Kansas City because the game's in Baltimore. So it's just got to be the Steelers.
Well, not only that, but here's the thing. It's like in KC, I mean, some of the stuff was on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, he didn't work out as well as they hoped. And also, he came in to be Clyde's backup. Clyde got hurt. And it was just like, well, here you go. Here's the full role. But
you basically had the keys to the bus, and you barely made it to the gas station. Not even the full drive. You barely made it to the gas station.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that you were given the keys and you decide not to go anywhere with it to a point, I mean, that just kind of shows you how it is. But we do know, it's just like, listen, I have no idea what Coach Reed said to him. And listen, I'm not one of those guys that's going to kiss Reed's ass and kiss Veach's ass. I call it down as it is. And when I get frustrated, you know if I get frustrated or not. It's just part of being a fan, and I've been a part of this fandom for so long. So that's just how it goes there. But if you had to say, what is the expectation? Like, where do you see Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, and Tyson Williams?
I'm really high on Sammy and Marquise this year. I think are going to really surprise a lot of people. I don't think people appreciated how good Sammy was in Kansas City.
I disagree.
He wasn't able to play as much, but his chemistry with Lamar Jackson has been present ever since the first day of training camp that they played together. And I think that people are going to realize, like, that Sammy's going to go out there and he's going to get a big contract after this year if he stays healthy. And Marquise Brown, I think, is going to have the biggest year of his career because
Agreed.
He finally has receivers around him. So teams won't be able to just come out and say, oh, hey, yeah, put a safety over top against Marquise. Now he's done. there's going to be a lot more deep shots that the Ravens are able to take because now that they have Bateman, who should be back, I say week 5, but technically I think he could come back week 4. But if he's able to come back, he's going to really change this offense as well. But it's going to allow all those guys to go deep. And Tyson Williams, I'm fine with Tyson Williams. I think, I was a big fan of what he did in the preseason. He balled out in preseason with terrible offensive line play. Obviously, he was going against backups as well, so it's very difficult to judge. But, he is a very tough and physical runner. And that is a very good pairing to have with Lamar Jackson, where you have the speed and finesse of Lamar compared to the power and lower the shoulder level of Tyson Williams. And so I think it's a really good combo. I think all 3 of those players are really going to really step up this year. And I'm very excited. A lot of Ravens fans, after guys got hurt, they were like, oh, call the season. Like, it's over. Like, hand Cleveland the divisional trophy. And I'm like, the drop-off.
No.
The Ravens are probably worse, but they're still contenders. Like, it's not like they lost guys. Like, if they lose Lamar, it's lost. If they lose Mark Andrews, it's probably lost. But there's a chance they could still ball out. They lost Marlon.
Huntley really is impressive, though, I will say. Like, and I'm not going off of that, just that postseason game. If you saw his play against the Bills, I'm actually looking at and I'm like, all right, Mac is probably pissed off if he's throwing things. I can't blame him for this. But at the same time, I was watching Huntley, and I'm like, never heard of him, but he looks legit.
Huntley's interesting. I think he's just a backup quarterback. Like, I'm fine if Lamar comes out of the game for something small, if he gets cramps or something like that, like, I'm okay with Huntley running the offense. Huntley, though, if the Ravens went into, oh no, you got to play 4 games in a row, it would not be good. It would not be good at all.
But you could say that with most backup quarterbacks.
Oh, 100%.
At the end of the day, right, it doesn't matter who your backup is. The only time I could actually say I'm confident with my backup is obviously when you have the young star like a Justin Herbert side of deal like last year, or the only time where a regular backup quarterback was actually good, I'm okay with this completely, was Charlie Batch.
I mean, Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, you're correct.
And maybe I would say Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's been known to come in as a backup.
Okay, so that's 3 out of how many the last couple of decades we've been watching?
300. Very rare. Very rare.
So we just named them on one hand right there. It's like, okay, Fitzpatrick. I mean, there's
Gardner.
There's not many. Gardner I'd be confident in too, but still, it's not on one hand.
Yeah.
As far as I will say this, there's a part of me that will say this. The reason why I was very upset with Sammy Watkins before, no idea why that's ringing. Oh, well. So, first off, my team's defense was horrific. And I'm thinking to myself, sign somebody good defensively. Give me a safety. Give me something. Sammy Watkins is our only acquisition this year. And I'm like, what? And sure enough, I see the picture of him and his family. They're all wearing the red KC hats. And I'm like, okay, anything else? Oh, and by the way, he gets $22 million up front. And I'm like, so wait, there's no more room? Are you kidding me? So basically, you broke the bank on Sammy Watkins, right? And obviously, the defense was horrible. And he did get hurt a lot. You know what I mean? But the thing is, you want to know why I'm actually neutral with Sammy Watkins?
Why?
There is a debate I had, and some people are going to this is a tough one, but in your mind, right? Because you're in a non-biased way, do the Chiefs have a ring if Sammy Watkins is not there? My answer is no.
I don't think so. I mean, he's just makes it so difficult. Him with Tyreek just makes it so difficult to just be like, oh yeah, just double Tyreek. So
and people are saying, what the hell did Hardman do all game? Did you not see the fake motion sweeps that he was doing all game? And one of their corners goes over to guard him because they think he's running a hard. That guy was running sprints. That guy was faking a play. He's running as hard as he can. to take that fake sweep, and so Mahomes could throw the rock. So the fact that you don't count those things into initiative, clearly somebody didn't watch the game. So without Hardman, and most importantly, Sammy Watkins, we do not have a ring. Now, is it frustrating about his injuries? Do I like that he restructures his contract afterwards? He's got something to play for now. He's on a 1-year prove-it deal. I don't think he's going to get big, giant money because I see what some of these guys are doing. His ceiling, I think, do I see a 2 or 3 year deal in there? Absolutely, I do. And he's going to hopefully prove it to everybody. As far as Marquise Brown, correct me if I'm wrong, but the debate is still out if he's a wide receiver 1 or not.
Among most people, yes.
Okay, I think we're in agreement on that. So I guess we'll see. I'm not saying we're going to see his ceiling this year, but I think just as a football fan and you being a hardcore Ravens fan is I want to see more. Right? And can't have best he be a wide receiver 2? I kind of say this, right? It's okay if you're not a wide receiver 1, but can you have a bunch of wide receiver 2s that could make it work? You can. Because you look at some of these teams, right? And you're like, okay, who's your wide receiver 1 and who's your number 2? There's sometimes where I see a bunch of 2s and 3s, but they could make it work. Like Juju, I think he's a number 2. And I think the Steelers have a bunch of number 2s, and that's okay. It depends on how you work the system.
100%. I mean, it's just like whether or not Greg Roman will be able to utilize those guys. That's why they brought in T. Martin to be their wide receivers coach. That's why they brought in Keith Williams to be their new pass game coordinator, because David Culley is terrible. And we'll be able to really see if Greg Roman can actually do something with the passing game. And that's just one of the biggest things to watch out for this year. Can the Ravens pass the ball, not because of Lamar's inability, not because of the wide receiver's inability, but because of the scheme, and will it actually fit?
Yes. Absolutely. You think it's going to be tough going into the Sunday night? I mean, are you hyped? Are you nervous? Are you excited?
Are you talking about Sunday night against the Chiefs week 2, or are you talking about Monday night against the Raiders?
Monday night against the
Monday,
Ravens.
okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm not worried at all. I'm just very excited.
All right.
Just want to watch the game. Like,
I the Chiefs, are you nervous at all, or?
I'm not nervous, like, at all, but at the same time, I don't really expect the Ravens to win. But really? my kind of thought process on it is it doesn't matter what happens in that game. If it was a week 15 Sunday Night Football, I would be nervous. But it's week 2. The Ravens don't have Bateman. They're going to be figuring out who the heck is their running back. They're going to be figuring out who's their number 2 cornerback. Like, who's going to be their primary edge rusher? Is it Justin Houston? Is it Odafe Away? Is it Jalen Ferguson? There's just so many factors that the Ravens will not know in that week. And so win or lose, it doesn't really mean anything like until late in the year when they start playing teams like the Browns and the Steelers and the Packers and the Rams. Those games to me matter much more than the Kansas City game, because I couldn't care less if the Ravens beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Like, I'm not worried about it. I think the Ravens can beat the Chiefs, but whether or not it's the regular season, I'd much rather play the Chiefs in the playoffs than play them in the regular season. So I'm not worried about the game. I don't expect a win, but like, I don't really care if they lose. There's other games early in the year, like I care if they lose, like the Colts game and things like that, where I'm like, okay, losing to the Chiefs is fine, but you don't want to lose to like the pretty good teams. But losing to the really good teams, I'm not that worried about it.
Yes. Also, I've actually learned this, that right now, the cause of concern for Frank Clark and his legal issues, I actually thought, now mind you, right, if there were 2 guys that I thought that would be on the commission exempt list, which I'm not sure if Roger Goodell is losing his mind or what, but I thought Frank Clark and Deshaun Watson would be on the exempt list. I really do. And my thought was after the second arrest in June, I'm kind of thinking to myself, okay, dude, really? Are you that stupid? And I'm going to say to myself, because they're like, oh, doing court by X time. I'm thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, man, what are you doing to yourself? Like, literally, his health problems, I understand. I know that there is like a time span where it's just like in a week, he lost like 12 pounds, which, for a big guy or a small guy, I mean, that's a lot to do on the body and keep in shape, get in condition again. But I'm just kind of like, are we just losing our best or second best pass rusher? I thought that was important. It doesn't matter who you're facing because guess what? The first 2 weeks, it's like, hey, you got Nick Chubb and then you got a rush heavy offense. And the Chiefs, for the past couple of years, they've had their moments, but they're typically not a great rush defense. They've just had good play calling, which has saved them, which I got to give it to the coaches there. I really do. So there was a big cause of concern there. And I was just kind of thinking to myself, okay, with the next games going on, I got to talk to Bake about this week. I haven't talked to him at all about this, but we talked in the playoffs about this, and we had a good rivalry going on, and we'll start that up again. I'm optimistic about how it's going in the second week. Still optimistic because I know how this team is. I gotta know what's in front of me, and I gotta see how the offensive line pulls because I take every game seriously, and these aren't two teams where I'm just gonna take lightly. If it was Detroit, I'd take it lightly, but these are two teams that are, at the end of the day, they're in playoff contention. Bottom line. I understand that week 2 it's early and you gotta get your full squad and you gotta figure some things out. I understand why you're not worried, but I think concerned is the better word. As am I.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Just for me, I'm just like the way that the Ravens have started every year under Lamar Jackson. They start slow. Like week 1, they've balled out every week 1. I want to say in the last 4 years, they've outscored their opponents like 120-16. Like it's like wild. Like their average margin of victory is like 40-7 or something like that. Like it's like not close at all. But like they've always just finished very strong. Like
Yes.
because Lamar's MVP year, they started out
Yeah.
2-2. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Browns. And everyone was like, "Oh, Lamar can't do it." And then they won 12 consecutive games.
Oh,
So,
brother.
so for me, I'm just like, what matters to me is the end of the year and finishing strong against a difficult schedule. That's the part that I'm concerned about. That's the part that I think matters. Like, if the Ravens start 3-2, they lose to the Broncos, they lose to the Chiefs or the Colts. Oh well. Like I'm not stressing that at all. I
Ah,
also have a lot of confidence. I don't think having being a wild card team versus like winning the division, I don't think they'll get the number 1 seed, so it won't matter as much. Like, I mean, I'm fine. Like, whatever, as long as they get to the playoffs, that's all that matters. And losing a week 2 game is not going to decide the playoffs, in
you're
my
right. It's
opinion.
not. It's not. So, any final thoughts, man, before we get to this? And I guess I'll see you sometime before the week 2 starts. And I think me and Joshua are excited to debate again.
You're getting ready. I don't know. I don't think I have any final thoughts. Just make sure that if you're watching this, don't overreact to things. You have to look at things level headed and recognize that, hey, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything, and you got to look at that. And the Ravens losing guys, yes, it sucks, but at the same time, it allows other players to step up. And Marcus Peters getting hurt. I love Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters bites. Marcus Peters gets up a lot of big plays. Maybe who they replace him with, I'm expecting Anthony Averett, gives up less big plays, even though he's a worse cornerback. It helps the Ravens defense potentially be better. I really don't know, but you gotta take everything with optimism, and you can't just go wild and think the season's lost before a game's even been played, because Tyson Williams could be the next rookie. Who's the Broncos guy? Philip Lindsay. who came in, got a 1,000-yard season, was a Pro Bowler as an undrafted rookie. Like, there's a chance that happens. So don't count out everybody just because
basically
one guy gets hurt.
They got to look up something in the dictionary that every single New York sports fan, for the most part, forgets or doesn't pay mind to. It's called optimism. And I think that's a great way to end it. Mac, thank you. I can't wait for week 2. And it's been a hoot as always. And for a guy that was expecting a lot of rants, smooth, my man. Smooth.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, everybody. This is the Pain. We got Makana. I'll put his links down below. And everybody, have a good night.